I feel like the biggest thing we should probably just jump off like from the beginning has to be the continued attention the Fresh and Fit podcast is getting. We got a bunch, which we kind of predicted, we got a bunch of comments and views on the clip that we posted discussing it. And obviously that only has gotten bigger as far as not the buzz, but like the controversy and all the eyeballs on them specifically. I know there was a Brittany Renner interview that popped off on Akademiks' platform. Surprisingly enough, they were also on Flagrant 2. And honestly, just like the conversation around them just hasn't stopped. So I guess just catch some people up on a couple of things and we can just dive deep into like, our thoughts on what they've said since, all the controversy kind of started.
100%. So, yeah, I mean, originally this controversy started because of their comments about Black women, or at least Black women on the dating app Black. And it spiraled out of control. Obviously, that started this wider conversation, and ultimately that led to several different outlets, interviewing these guys. We had our own commentary on it, but as far as the most recent one that's been drawing attention is the one with Brittany Renner, who I don't know what title she likes to go by, but I'm just gonna say Instagram influencer of sorts.
Yeah, that's probably the most like PC
personality, Instagram personality, we'll say.
Yeah. That's probably the most PC thing we can say as far as her title, for sure.
Yeah. And she, I think this is an interesting conversation because at least from the outside looking in, and even myself, the perception of her is, she's a gold digger, an attractive woman who likes to finesse men. And for that reason, I guess people thought this would be a nice,
they thought it'd be fireworks.
Of sorts. Yeah,
it'd be fireworks. Yeah.
And Fresh and Fit would essentially prove, the mindset of the average woman, even though I don't believe any of these Instagram personalities are the average woman from my experience. But, the things started off very fiery. I'll say personally, I was actually pretty impressed because when she speaks, she doesn't come across as an idiot.
No, not at all.
She stands on her word. And honestly, I don't know if you noticed it, but you could tell that Myron especially was I sensed a bit of intimidation in a sense, or him being a bit uncomfortable with
is he fresh?
He's the taller, skinnier dude, I guess.
Like the Arab guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Sudanese. I could sense, a level of discomfort when she started speaking, and it didn't seem like he was afraid of her. I think he just wasn't expecting her to come with his proper, that he wasn't expecting to respond to, because they're typically dealing with, for lack of a better word, I don't know, the internet will call them bimbos or gold diggers or whatever, who don't really have a motive other than just being self-centered and talking shit about men or whatever the case is.
And she even said that on that interview where she's like, listen, most people you guys interview are like bimbos, like, to quote her.
And I think what I appreciated about her approach was she essentially called them out on using insults or being dismissive of, in this case, women. And I think we've even experienced that in a lot of people in this space when they critique their message. The audience is quick to be like, oh, you're a simp or weak or feminine. Like there's no real open-mindedness to have a conversation. It's if as soon as you provide your opinion, automatically it's because you're weak or whatever. And it kind of reminds me of the analogy of when a guy, because like he said, oh, you're not special or whatever, which is true. Like technically none of us are really special, but we're special to some people. And it's kind of like when a guy is hitting on a girl and he's like, hey, beautiful, whatever, catcalling. And then as soon as she rejects him, it's like, oh, you fucking bitch. Like, get the fuck out of here.
You must be a lesbian.
Yeah. Now, I feel like that's kind of how maybe not Myron and them act in their personal lives, but how the messaging kind of comes across, at least based on some of the things I've seen. Like, all these, if these bitches don't want you, they're just like hoes. Like if they're not giving up the sex to you because you're high value or whatever the case is. I think the lesson I got from it, or not got from it, but agreed with, is that men in this space need to understand that when you do throw these insults or are dismissive of, you know, other opinions or ways of thinking that challenge your worldview, all it does is really show your insecurity and I guess stubbornness, if you will, because you feel uncomfortable that there might be some other truths. Because I don't disagree with every single thing they say.
No,
I also don't
we'll
disagree with everything
yeah.
she said. But that's my like little intro piece. I'm curious to hear what you think, and obviously, if you're listening to this, let us know what you think about this whole fiasco.
For sure. 100%, dude. So for at least, so like again, I want to talk about both interviews, or we can just like put it all in one. But for the one on Akademiks platform with Brittany Renner, like, yeah, I expected fireworks, more fireworks. I thought it was gonna be like, yo, like a shouting match, like Akademiks being a referee, like, yo, back up, like you can't hit her, like kind of a shit. I think they were surprised, like how well spoken she is, for whatever reason, even though she's always been that way since like I mean, she's been famous for like 5-6 years now. I agree. The Sudanese, what's his name, Myron?
Yeah, Myron. Yeah,
I could tell he was not stumbling words, but definitely a bit confused and like caught off guard, her phrase, because dude, I feel like he repeated himself to her like 3 or 4 times when trying to make a point. Like the whole thing about like, well, men are looking for this and then women are looking for that. And it's like, bro, we know that's how your stance is, but like, you're not really answering her question, right? Because I think a couple of times she asked them like, well, what pleasure do you get out of like insulting women? Like, because even like you saying like you're like, no, you're not nothing special, right? Like, yeah, that's accurate. But it's also like what we've been saying now, dude, for almost a year with these dudes and these different platforms that like specialize in like alpha male mentality. There's also that, right? There's also a way to say, hey, we're generally, you know, we're all the same. We're equal in our approach to anything. But you just saying you're nothing special is an insult, right? So I just feel like those kind of things, like I honestly like, and I didn't think I was going to agree with either side more, but I was actually pretty impressed at how she carried herself. And I thought it'd be more of like a tear down. She even said like, yeah, I didn't want to be on your podcast because I didn't care for it, but I did my research, and it's not for me, but good for you for having a massive following and offering all this content. Clearly there's a market. Like she was bigging them up as opposed to just call them like, you dumbass niggas, like you don't know shit. Like what, you know, what, it wasn't that, dude. So I guess that was pretty impressive. Dude, my thing with them, and again, at least for me, like I saw more of the Flagrant 2, like the full episode when they were on that platform. Like, it's just funny, dude, like how they're not backing down, like at all, right? And the conversation now, unfortunately for them, is not like, you don't like black women, fam, you don't like women. You know what I mean? Like you guys are painting women as these absolute evil beings that are just trying to fucking take down men, and that's their sole purpose. So now as a man, you have to play all these games and tricks. And it's like, dude, like, again, I feel like I don't want to be in a silo. Like, again, we all have our own experiences, like, but we can only go off on our own experience with women. Like, bro, I don't think a game needs to be played. Like, and I feel like I don't like how they generalize all females. Like, this is how it needs to be done. So it's odd how this all sparked controversy off that, like, you know, I don't date the dark or night riding, all that bullshit. But it really do, as you start not even just finding more content from them, dude, as they keep speaking now, like, it's not even like, it'd be one thing if they just own their shit and like, fucking a dumbass comment. That's not who we are. But fam, like, they're doubling down on that. So making that shit look worse. And then it's also like, dude, like, fuck, bro. Like, I don't really know how anyone could fuck with you, to be honest. Again, I don't disagree with almost like 75% of the shit to say, but it's hard when the delivery is just so aggressive. It's like, dog, like, how can you actually think that way and like feel like it's encouraging to tell men to even treat women like shit? Because like at the end they're like saying, treat them like shit first, because otherwise they're gonna treat you like shit. And I'm like, bro, that's if you walk into every relationship like that, you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And to play devil's advocate a little bit, show people that we're not biased or trying to like get clicks and shit. I think I do agree with like the sentiment of, a lot of women do think or behave in a way that's, very pompous and, I'm the shit and I haven't done anything, but like you deserve to treat me like a queen type of mentality. But my issue is, I think their experience or the women they're referring to is a very niche, small subset of women that belong to this like Miami club scene that they're probably around. Yeah. Probably the same thing for LA or Hollywood. And I think a lot of men who watch this episode and see these OnlyFans girls, for some odd reason, believe this is how all women are. I don't know a single girl who's even remotely close to fucking doing OnlyFans or stripping. Right. Like most of the women I know are regular professional working women. Granted, I do think there is like a quote unquote dance that men and women play, but I think
that's courting. That's courting though. Like every relationship did that prior to social media, right? Like there's always like, yo, don't be too thirsty, but it's never like, yo, treat her like absolute shit. And then like, yeah, she'll love you and she'll know her place. Like that's the thing. Like it's all like this, like do this and then she'll know her place. Like I think the TikTok you sent me were like, what was it? Like if I think he was educating guys.
Yeah, like if she doesn't want to give you sex, pretend there's like another
girl on the phone
or something.
Yeah, because she'll get jealous and then she'll like go get sex, or like she wasn't gonna fuck you anyway. I'm like, bro, like how are you like? That's just like to have that mindset is just wild to me. And again, we might be privileged, like no homo, we're two good-looking dudes, like we're well-educated, we're thankfully, healthy and making good money, so maybe it's different. But dude, I remember when I was in these things and I was still like, just like, you talk to girls, you might get shut down, but I'm never like, bro, if I call her like an ugly piece of shit, or if I can get her to come home with me, I'm like, bro, that sounds fucking insane.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, like in college, I did like engage in some of these like little mind games, just because some of the girls would do it back too and like ignore you for a couple of days. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna ignore her and pretend like I don't want to hang out with her and that kind of shit. And I'll tell you, it's like, I'm sure you've done it before, but it's super exhausting. And then it comes to a point where you're like, if I'm really secure with myself, do I have to play these stupid ass games?
Right.
Because I knew somebody who literally, he worked for like one of these pickup artist schools. And like, I couldn't go anywhere with this motherfucker without him like telling me about, oh, like he doesn't seek validation and watch me talk to this girl and like this and that. And like literally his whole world was ironically about not needing validation and talking shit to girls and treating them like dirt, so they would want him and this and that. And I think it drove him crazy because he was out of that. But to this day, I know he's insecure, because there's been many moments when he wished he had the attention and focus on him like he's always wanted. And like you said, for me, maybe it's a maturity thing. When you're an older man, you got shit going on and you don't, like, your day isn't surrounded by this focus on getting pussy like all day or whatever the case is. But I'm at a point where I'm like, if you don't want to mess with me, then I'm not going to waste my time. I don't have to run over to this bedroom and have like my female cousin
pretend to call me. Yeah.
My side chick or some shit. I think their audience is some of the audience is under the illusion that as long as they watch them and defend them, then they're alpha males, when in reality, a lot of these guys are simply lost when it comes to women. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the message, like anything, some people could take it too far and too literally and like go to the extreme and lose focus of who they are.
Yeah, I agree. So question for you though. So before the question, sorry. So I really think it's the insecurity piece of it, right? So it's like these men on that platform are insecure and are looking for a way to maybe a more even playing field, right? That's what they say all the time, right? Like, let's even the battle of the sexes. But do you think like a platform like this is important, like Fresh and Fit podcast? Because clearly they're doing crazy numbers. Clearly there is a large portion of men, not just American men, but that all over the world, men who are super insecure, bro. Maybe they don't have good looks. Maybe they came from very impoverished beginnings. Maybe they did have this terrible traumatic experience as a kid where this girl absolutely fucking shitted on them in public, right? Because again, there are everyone goes back to a certain time where they had a moment in their life that was just fucking traumatic, and that just goes on them forever. So clearly there's enough of that, of those people. So do you think it's good or bad for a platform like this to even exist?
I think it's really good, but I think they need to maybe I mean, honestly, I'm not going to pretend like I've researched all their videos and know all of their messages. So I'm not going to shit on their content out of, not wanting to be speaking irresponsibly. But I think the message is a lot simpler. I think what it boils down to with women is you simply can't be the nice, desperate for pussy guy. Otherwise, there are women that are gonna take advantage of you and walk over you, and then you're also gonna go crazy trying to please women who don't want you in the first place. And I think their message from a macro level is that, like, you shouldn't put these women on a pedestal. Like, worry about improving your own life first, and then the women will flock. Like, I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that sort of message, but I think a lot of these men, they know that they have to put in this work, and like there's this almost bitterness that might compel some of them to go to the extreme and like literally shit on women and become like physically abusive potentially, or emotionally abusive. And I think it's a dangerous path, because some guys are gonna inevitably go to the extreme and just be unhappy, because I think when it becomes too much of a game, then to her point, I think it may have even been flagrant too, but like there's got to be some sort of connection or intimacy that you're looking for. Like at a certain point, if it's just a fucking hole that you're trying to get, like
the box. That guy said box a million times. It was too fucking
yeah. I don't know. I think it's just interesting how much emphasis there is on this community of like getting the box, that it's ironic that they're constantly like, oh, the pussy means nothing, or like
but then why is
that's
that
all you're trying to fucking get all day? Like, which one is it? And I find it hard to believe any alpha male is on the internet fucking Googling YouTube videos on how to get pussy. Like, that's just not the case.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think that's like the overwhelming point of this. Like, an alpha male isn't going to them, right? And I don't think you make alpha males. Like, personally, like I think there's like there's a way to improve yourself, but I think there's also things that sometimes you innately have, right? Like, not everyone is meant to be a coach of a fucking football team, right? Like, you have people who play their roles. Like, hey, you can be an assistant coach, you can be the strength conditioning person, you can be whatever, but not everyone's meant to be the top dog. So I think like this idea that like you're insecure about everything in your life, and like you're gonna listen to two people, like, and that's gonna make you now like a fucking pussy magnet, bro. That's like I don't see that happening, bro. And then I don't know if it's I'm innately a simp and I'm okay with that title, dude. But the idea that again you're just gonna dog females, like, and just like like there was a couple of things they said, and they were like, and like with a straight face, like they didn't even like think it was like insane to say it. And I was just like, bro, that's crazy. Like, and again, I would like to think it's just like you said, like the Miami scene, and they're solely going based off that. But then they keep saying that everyone that, hops on the show and in their comments are like from all over the world. And like these guys are saying they're having the same problem, wherever they're at, like Iowa or Wyoming or some shit. But it's like, are you, bro? Or are you just absolutely terrible at talking to women and you want to fucking say, oh yeah, the same for me? Because like, fam, like, again, there are 1% or 2%, like the elite fucking gorgeous bombshells that you look at it and you're like, dude, I can't even speak to her. All right, bro, maybe that's not the one for you then. Like, there's other women, dude. Like, so like, I don't understand like why this is such a big deal. Like, there's been a ton of women that I fucking reached out to and fucking either ghosted me or just, nah, fam, I'm good. I'm like, all right. I don't go like, you're all the worst. You know what I mean? Like, I'd never want to do anything like, so like, I don't know, man. It's just weird how like this could be broken down so much simpler. And I feel like the generalization of how all women are is like the scary part, which is why I think like with this whole like PR campaign after like those comments came out from Asian Doll and all those stuffs, like it's just like alarming that it's not them just saying, you know what, man, that was a joke. Yo, come on, check out the content we do. It's just like they're like tripling down, quadrupling. Like, yo, like fam, dude, again, they already have their audience, and their audience isn't going anywhere. So they're probably like, yo, I'm staying true, like kind of like Trump, right? Like Trump's like, yeah, this might sound wild, but my core audience isn't going anywhere, and that core audience is providing enough for me to be very content. So maybe that's what it is with them. Like they don't want to lose their core. But damn, as an outsider of that core, it's fucking hard to watch, dog. Like, I'm telling you, I watched that Flagrant Pod and I was just like, the looks I made in my TV, bro, was like, these some wild boys, bro.
Right. I agree with a lot of that. To give you a little pushback, because I know a lot of people are going to mention this in the comments, and I'm curious if you can elaborate on it.
Yeah.
There's a couple things I wanted to unwrap. But yeah, I think the generalization is dangerous. I don't mind them like standing on their point or their ground if they truly believe it. My only issue is I don't think they really thought it was a joke. I know based on these types, like I've met these kinds of guys before, they like genuinely don't want to date Black women. And it's not even just like the ratchet ones. They just prefer white girls. And I think they went too far with how they felt, and they're going to chalk it off as a joke so that it's easier for their audience to be like, oh, these guys just speak too real. Like it's fine. I don't think it really was a joke. I think they genuinely just find that like the Black woman repulsive from like an attractive standpoint. I agree with them. I don't want to deal with like quote unquote hood girls, but obviously that's not every Black woman. I think that was personally the dangerous way to paint the picture. But my question for you is, I've heard a lot of people in this group say, well, they're just being factual and logical, and you can't worry about how they're saying it. If it's the truth or they're speaking their truth, then that's all that matters. And and your reaction is how you choose to react. Like, what's your response to that? If given that they, deliver these messages in their like quote unquote raw manner.
I know, man, that's like an easy cop out to me though, bro, because that's like, yes, my reaction and your feelings are your feelings. And I get that sentiment, but dude, at the end of the day, like when you're on a certain platform, like your word also carries weight, man. Like they're doing millions of views weekly. You know what I mean? So like to say that, well, if you feel that way, get over it. I mean, yeah, dude, but you can do that about anything, bro. Like you can do that about COVID vaccines. You can do about literally anything in life. Well, that's how you feel. So I don't give a fuck. Like, bro, all right, then why are we even on this fucking because he said it's I think Schultz once or on one of the interviews, he's like, well, that's how you feel. It's like, yeah, bro, but we're here to talk about it. Like, otherwise, why are we even having this conversation, right? So I think that's just like, I think from them, that was too easy of a way to not really dig into them. Because like their point of view is always about other people, other men, how women are. It's never about them, bro. So I feel like that's an easy deflection. But again, it's fine, bro. But again, if you're going to be on that platform, your words carry weight. I feel like you have to be more responsible with the shit you say. And when questioned, it can't just be like, well, that's how you feel. So, you don't have to watch. Like, all right, bro, I won't then. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there was a couple of people I had responded to, and I think I understand like women have a tendency to maybe be more emotional, and for a man, it can be frustrating if you're not basing decisions off of logic, let's say. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. There's emotions separate us from robots and AI. I think that's why people are afraid of the future of humanity, because eventually it's just going to be us fucking strapped up with no limbs, fucking our like the Matrix in our brains,
like
wired to some
the meme you sent me that I sent back to you with the guy like buying property in the metaverse but lives in a fucking dump.
Right. Yeah. And I think people are forgetting like psychology is a very powerful thing, at least if you know how to tap into it and, manipulate people, let's say. I think that's even a lot of what these dating coaches preach is at the end of the day, it is kind of like manipulation in a lot of ways. And regardless of who you're talking to, like the way you deliver the message is important.
Matters.
Even the people that are listening to them, their approach is influencing some or triggering some sort of emotional response, like,
right.
Yeah, like confidence and enthusiasm and all this stuff. And I think they're quick to dismiss any rebuttal to these arguments. And to your point, it is easy to just say, all right, like you're triggered, you're pissed off, like I'm not going to listen to you. And it's like, what? I just spoke my truth, and now because you disagree with it, I'm triggered and I'm being emotional. I think that's where there's like a disconnect with the extremists in this community, and it's actually disturbing. Like, this is the first time I felt like there's almost a cult of brainwashed people, and I'm beginning to see that how humans could be dumb enough to, let's say, fucking drink a poison because they think the aliens are going to come to rescue them and they have to take this serum or whatever, otherwise they won't be chosen. Like dumb shit like that. I was always like, how are people so dumb? But psychology is a powerful fucking thing.
And dude, like, how can we be so dumb that we fucking elected a reality TV star as our president, and then we also had one as governor of California for fucking 4 years? You know what I mean? Like, like, dude, like, doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, if you sat down with your like child self, and like, you're the president of your country, gonna be a fucking reality TV star who owns a lot of property. They're like, but what's the qualification? Oh, people like him. Like, that's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So like, yeah, like, dude, it's scary. Especially, bro, like in the comment section, bro. Cause I know, like, cause you put me on to a lot of comments when you like share pictures. And I'm like, bro, like, I remember, like, I think it was on Akademiks page, bro. We like did like a fucking like test. And it was like, are we ready for the next Lil Durk album? And I just responded, no. Bro, I got 45 comments to him. He's like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you, bitch ass nigga? I'm like, bro, what? Like, I can't just like, So yeah, man, it's pretty scary out there, bro. But again, these groups do exist. So again, I mean, even like us on this pod, dude, we're looking for, I wouldn't say like a kind of a niche market, right? We're trying to put people onto new music, bring on artists that you maybe never heard of, but will hear of in the future, talk about things from a different perspective than your average hip hop, pop, platform. So, but again, it's just wild how like something that seems just so anti-common sense could be something that is so big and, profitable. Like, that's the disturbing thing, bro. Like, it's cool. That's why I feel like both you and I are fans of like the Andrew Schultzes, and like, kudos to them. Like, I feel like they go about it in a way that is just like refreshing. Like, it pushes the boundaries, but fam, I don't think they're really trying to hurt anybody's feelings, put anyone down. It's funny as well. Like, that's the stuff that I feel like you and I resonate more with. And I think what we're trying to do here to a certain extent. But yeah, I'm with you, man. It's alarming as fuck that you can have these massive, again, yes, niche, but still, dude, millions of fucking people that can agree with fucking takes that are just like, bro, what?
Right. And I think, and they still keep it raw. Like, I feel like you can still keep it raw and truthful without insulting someone. Like, I could say, hey, bro, like, you kind of got this odor going on. Like, I highly recommend you shower more often. Like, you don't want to.
I post like, my fam, you fucking stink.
Yeah.
You know
like, you smell
like,
like shit, you fucking bitch. Like, you should die right now or something. Like, I feel like people are forgetting that at the end of the day, these are businesses and the shock value does sell. So they're more inclined to have these viral moments where, Kevin Samuels is calling someone a bitch or fat or something. I'm not sure if he ever called someone a bitch, but I'm just saying, giving an example.
But calling like a woman like, hey, you want a man, and you look like a linebacker, bro, that's fucking offensive. You know what I mean? Like, there's no two ways about it, bro. It's not like, oh, that's your opinion. No, bro, that woman was offended. Like, that's the fact of it.
Yeah. But the thing is, if she fires back and he fires back, then they'll never call him emotional for getting upset or responding with an insult. Like, you can definitely be like, yo, I'm sorry that you think you're capable of getting this man, but you are obese. Like, you need to work on your image first before you can expect this and that. But obviously it's a lot funnier to be like, yo, you know, when SeaWorld let you off early today, like, how'd you get on this call? Like, honestly, that shit would be funny. But at the end of the day, let's keep it real. Like, that person's not gonna be like, haha, like, you got me there, now I'm gonna hit the gym. Like, you're either a fucking consultant or you're a comedian, or you're I don't know, a troll. Like, you can't be all these motherfuckers at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. So just to put a bow on this, in case they keep, this shit keeps going viral, but do you think, because I know a lot of people, especially on the Akademiks YouTube page, were coming for Fresh and Fit, like, cancel them. Like, I personally don't think they're getting canceled. No. To all the points we just made. So yeah, like, what do you think the future is for them? Like, are they going to be negatively impacted by this at all? Because personally, I just feel like, if anything, this just made their voice that much louder with their own core audience. I think their core audience is seeing like these guys gain more popularity, and it probably should recommend more people to them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's helping them. I think that's part of the reason why they're not backing down. Otherwise, they would be called simps. And I don't personally even want them to be canceled. I just want
not at all.
Their audience to just be a little more open-minded. It doesn't mean you have to fucking start buying bitches flowers for no reason and shit. Just be a little more open-minded. You're allowed to challenge your heroes without fucking insulting them or other people. That's all I think we're trying to say. And if you can't do that, then something's actually wrong with you. Maybe you aren't an alpha male. Maybe you're a sheep.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I just encourage people to be a little more open-minded. But at the end of the day, I'm not a fan of cancel culture, especially because it's not like anyone, I would hope not, is dying behind this shit. So.
Yeah. Dude, I think there's two people sharing their opinion, as we are, as other platforms are. And if you want to, like, to the point, if you want to listen. If you don't. But you would just hope, I think someone said this in the comments or something, but like, at the end of the day, you would hope the people listening take it for what it is, and then aren't out in the actual world where real shit happens, right? Not just on these fucking hour clips, and aren't out in the world like trying to really hurt people's mentally, bro. Because like, from at least the examples they gave and on different things of their content, like, fam, if you say that shit to a woman or treat a woman like that or go into a relationship that way, bro, you're mentally fucking with her. Like, bad, bro. So like, that's the consequence, I think, for some of these things. So I would just hope, like, yeah, dude, good for them. They have a massive platform, making a ton of money. But I would just say, like, everything, bro, it's not a blanket statement. Like, there's parts of it, like a buffet, you can take and say, all right, cool, I'm good with this. You know what? I'm not cool with that. Because at the end of the day, like, if you just take this all in, there is going to be an army of men just out there ready to fucking, for their own personal benefit of getting the box, ready to really fuck up a women's psyche. And dude, that could have consequences that, dude, we'll never maybe recover from. Which sounds crazy, bro. But dude, if you just start seeing women feeling absolutely insecure, bro, this shit could be, these OnlyFans pages could be wild, bro. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, it's just a whole world of insecurity. And I think people need to realize, like, there are good women out there the same way there are horrible men out there who probably make women this way in the first place. So I think at the end of the day, like, even the bias against black women, I saw some people saying shit about black men too. Like, at the end of the day, there's good people out there. You just have to be good at assessing that from the get-go and not go into every situation with this pessimistic, like, bitch ass mindset. Like, there's plenty of good people. You just got to seek them out, but also in the right places. Don't hit up a fucking Miami nightclub expecting to meet, the wife. Yeah, dude.
If the bottle service girl at Live isn't going home with you, that doesn't mean all women suck, bro. It just means that particular woman is not gonna go home, and that's okay. Like, that's okay.
And in fact, she'll probably go home with the guy who's not fucking thirsty over her on YouTube, looking up strategies and shit. Like, she's gonna go with the confident dude who could care less if she's going home with him.
Right.
And these guys, a lot of them don't seem to make that connection in their brains.
Yeah. it'd be interesting though, like what the average like demographic is. Like not to generalize like who listens to the show, but like what does that guy even look like? Is it like a 28-year-old male from an inner city, or like is he from like the fucking boonies? Like it would be interesting to find that info, because yeah, it's just like it's scary to think like that could be like the guy who works in the cubicle next to you. And you think he's like a normal ass fucking dude, but he's like online, like, all right, I'm gonna treat this bitch like shit tomorrow. And I'm like, like how do I? It's just like, it's scary, dude. But yeah, again, shout out to them. No, I think we both agree. Not trying to cancel them, but just I guess people who consume it, just be aware of what you're consuming. That's all. Yep, 100%. Awesome, bro. I mean, that was a pretty long, lengthy topic, so I'm a fan of that. So a couple other things. Man, I don't want to go from simping to this. We'll maybe get back to this topic. So